The muscles of the posterior abdominal wall. What are the muscles? One is psoas major. Right? You remember the vertebrae, the transverse processes, and transverse processes has a vertical ridge. Right? And then this is the spinous process. So from the body to the ridge is the origin of psoas major. Beyond the ridge is the origin of quadratus lumborum. Where are the insertions? Psoas major, you know the insertion along with iliacs. Quadratus lumborum, iliac crest. Okay. So in between then what is this? Anterior layer of thoracolumbar fascia. From the tip of the transverse process is middle layer, and this is posterior layer. So there are three layers of thoracolumbar fascia. So thoracolumbar fascia and all these topics, they are kind of toxic topics. You know how to remember. So at least minimum you should know that, and between psoas major and quadratus lumborum is anterior layer of thoracolumbar fascia. At the tip of transverse processes is middle layer of thoracolumbar fascia, and at the tip of spinous process is posterior layer of thoracolumbar fascia. Some minimum knowledge about this. Okay. In the exam, when they will give you the lumbar vertebrae, they will ask you the attachment of psoas major. Okay, so along the medial side of this ridge, on the transverse process. Quadratus lumborum lateral side. Then the multifidus and other muscles of the back are here. Rotators, multifidus. Okay, so that is about the muscles and the fascia. Now we move on to the next topic, and that is aorta, the abdominal aorta. Okay, and before we go on to that topic also, just to tell you that this is truncus arteriosus, and from this truncus arteriosus arterial arches arise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is rudimentary. Okay, and this arches initially they unite, and then there is a ventral horn and dorsal horn. Have you heard of this ventral horn and dorsal horn? Truncus arteriosus you have heard of? Yeah. Then these aortae posteriorly they unite along the dorsal aorta, okay, to form the dorsal aorta. So this forms the ventral aorta over here. From the ventral aorta 6 arches arise. 5th is rudimentary. So 5 arches arise. They go behind and they unite at the door and they form the dorsal aorta. So the abdominal aorta actually develops from this, from the dorsal aorta. Okay, this part most of it disappears. Now let's talk about the first arch artery, then the second arch artery. First arch artery forms maxillary artery, maxillary artery. Second forms stapedial artery. Third forms common carotid artery and internal carotid artery, and external carotid arises as a bud. So we are on the third arch artery. from the left fourth forms the arch of aorta. Okay, so there are 6 arterial arches which run from truncus arteriosus to dorsal aorta. Out of which the 4th one forms the arch of aorta and the 6th one forms the pulmonary artery. 6th one forms the pulmonary artery. Just to tell you that this pulmonary artery here will be supplying the lungs like this. And on this side, this 6th arch continues as up to the aorta as ductus arteriosus, which then forms ligamentum arteriosus. This is lung. This is 6th arch artery which forms pulmonary artery. It goes to the lung, and then part of beyond that should disappear. Part beyond the lung, but on left side it continues to the aorta because it is for diverting the blood from the lung, because lungs are not oxygenated. Okay, first arch maxillary, second arch stapedic, third arch common carotid and internal carotid, fourth arch arch of aorta. Now this arch of aorta also, I said that these arches, their lower parts unite to form the left horn and the right horn. Okay, the left horn contributes to the arch of aorta, and the right horn forms brachiocephalic trunk. There is truncus arteriosus, then there are horns, right horn and left horn, aortic sac and horns, right and left horns. This side also it will be same. So this side, what will the 4th artery form? What does the left 4th form? So right 4th will form subclavian artery. Right 4th will form subclavian artery. So what about left 4th? What about the left subclavian? Sorry. It is formed by the 7th cervical intersegmental artery. 7th cervical intersegmental artery. 7th cervical intersegmental also contributes to the right 4th. But right 4th is formed by right 4th arch and 7th cervical intersegmental artery, while on the left side it is completely formed by 7th cervical intersegmental artery. Okay. So this is about the embryology. So this dorsal aorta, okay, so descending aorta is formed by the left side arch, left side dorsal aorta, and then lower down abdominal aorta. The reason I taught you this because you have already studied the arch of aorta, you have already studied what forms the ascending aorta. Truncus arteriosus. The truncus arteriosus is divided by a bulbar septum. You remember this, na? Bulbus cordis, truncus arteriosus. Truncus arteriosus is divided by a bulbar septum, which divides it into ascending aorta and pulmonary trunk. So pulmonary trunk and ascending aorta are formed from truncus arteriosus. Okay. Now the abdominal aorta almost lies in the center. I have, I think, spoken to you about this. It lies in the center. In a thin person, in a lying down position, actually you can see the pulsations. The person is very lean and thin, and when he lies down, so you know what happens when we lie down, the stomach slightly goes in. And that time actually we can see the pulsations. Okay. The posterior relation will be vertebral column. What will be the anterior relation? Somebody remembers? Some organs we have already studied for which the posterior relation was ever. Body of pancreas. Body of pancreas. Then third part of duodenum. So that will be all anterior relation. But most important, the extent from T12 to L4. T12 to L4. At L4 it divides into common areas. While inferior vena cava is formed at L5. Dorsal aorta divides at L4. It enters the diaphragm by aortic opening, which is at the level of T12 along with azygous vein and thoracic vein. Okay, so in the aortic opening there are two more structures, azygous vein and thoracic vein. There is no effect of descent of diaphragm on this opening. Aorta almost at the level of T12, immediately coming out gives celiac trunk, then gives superior mesenteric artery. These are anterior branches. Okay, celiac trunk, superior mesenteric artery and inferior mesenteric artery. Foregut, midgut and hindgut. Celiac trunk, superior mesenteric and inferior mesenteric. Celiac trunk gives hepatic, left gastric and spleen. Superior mesenteric gives 5 branches. Inferior pancreatic duodenum, which we have already studied. Jejunal and ileal branches. Ileopolic, which goes to the ileum and cecum. Right colic for the ascending column. Middle colic. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Superior pancreatic duodenum, jejunal and ileal branches, ileocolic, right colic, middle colic. Now inferior mesenteric will give left colic for the descending aorta. The descending colon, for the descending colon. Okay? Then it will give a sigmoid branch to the sigmoid colon, and then it continues down as superior rectal artery. Continues down as superior rectal artery. So with the inferior mesenteric, why this arrangement is there like this? That it gives middle colic, then this gives left colic. What is the demarcating line between the hindgut and the midgut? Right 2/3 of the transverse colon. Midgut ends at right 2/3 of the transverse colon, beyond that is hindgut. Where does foregut and midgut junction? Duodenum, second part. From there the midgut starts up to the right 2/3 of the transverse colon, and beyond that is hindgut, which is supplied by inferior mesenteric. So left colic, sigmoid branches and continues down as superior rectal artery. Branches on the side, inferior phrenic, then middle suprarenal, inferior phrenic, middle suprarenal, then renal and gonadal. Renal and gonadal. 4 branches on the side. Inferior phrenic, middle suprarenal, renal, and gonadal. Okay, and there are few posterior branches like median, sacral, and lumbar arteries. Okay, few posterior branches, and most important, two terminal branches. What are the terminal branches? Common iliac arteries. Which common iliac will further divide into external iliac and internal iliac. Internal iliac will study in the next class. It supplies the pelvis. External iliac supplies the lower. So common iliacs divide into internal and external. External continues as femoral. Internal goes to the pelvis and supplies the bladder, supplies the uterus, supplies the rectum. Okay. Again, this will be revised for you throughout the day and in the evening. But still, fast revision. Anterior branches 3, celiac trunk, superior mesenteric, inferior mesenteric. Okay. Their levels you should be knowing. T12, L1, L3. The lateral branches, inferior phrenic, middle suprarenal, renal, gonadal, and posterior medial sacral and lumbar. Now, coming to a little difficult part, and that is IBC. Now, we said IBC is formed at L5 level. Aorta divides at L4, IBC is formed at L5 level. Formed by union of two common iliac veins. But if you see the embryology of IBC, IBC has, in the embryonic life, there are posterior cardinal veins. You remember this posterior cardinal veins, an anterior cardinal vein, and common cardinal vein. This is common cardinal vein, this is anterior cardinal vein. What is formed from this? Anterior cardinal vein plus common cardinal vein is equal to superior vena. Superior vena. And then the renal part of the posterior cardinal vein, azygos. It makes sense. Now this forms STC, posterior cardinal vein, terminal part forms the azygos. Okay. Now we'll draw some veins. Green, what I have drawn for you, green one, is called as subcardinal vein. Okay. The yellow thing what I have drawn for you is supracardinal vein. I'm going to, this is one lecture where I can use all the colored chalks. This is supracardinal, subcardinal anastomosis. Anastomosis. Subcardinal, supracardinal, supracardinal, subcardinal anastomosis. Hepatocardiac channels. Hepatocardiac channels. And this is subcardinal veins and hepatocardiac channels anastomosis. Oh. Hepatocardiac channels, this is subcardinal. Now IVC is formed like this. So the lowermost portion of the IVC is formed by what is blue? What is blue? Posterior cardinal vein. Then what is yellow? Yellow is supracardinal vein. Then is supracardinal, subcardinal anastomosis. And what is green? Subcardinal vein. And what is this? Subcardinal hepatocardiac channels anastomosis. And finally, hepatocardiac development of inferior vena cava. It was designed by God so that only intelligent people take up to medicine. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So lower portion of the posterior cardinal vein forms the IVC and terminal portion forms arch of Azalea. An anterior cardinal and forward cardinal form. Should I rub this? Okay. Posterior cardinal, supracardinal, supracardinal, subcardinal anastomosis, subcardinal, subcardinal hepatic cardiac channels anastomosis and hepatocardiac channels. Hepatocardiac channels. The final terminal part passes through liver and goes to the heart. So hepatocardiac channels. Okay. Should I rub this? Should I rub this? I am rubbing this. Now coming to the IVC relations to the left is aorta, right? Anterior relations of iris. Posteriorly तो vertebral column थोड़ा सा साइड में रहेगा, but anterior relations liver, because liver on the posterior surface of the iris, then head of the pancreas. Head of the pancreas IVC was the posterior, body aorta, right? Body का posterior relation was aorta, head का posterior relation is IVC. So IVC का anterior relation is head of pancreas. So liver, head of pancreas, okay? Now there is one more structure that we need to study, and that is portal vein. Portal vein. This portal vein is formed by the union of splenic vein and superior mesenteric vein behind the neck of pancreas, and it goes and divides into right and left branches for the right and the left lobe. Right and the left lobe. It is divided into three parts by the first part of duodenum. Divided into three parts by the first part of the duodenum. So infraduodenal part, retroduodenal part, and its common posterior relation on all the three parts. Iris. Posterior relation, iris. Whether it is supraduodenal, retroduodenal, and infraduodenal. Now we have to only remember the anterior relation of supra, anterior relation of retro, and anterior relation of infra. उसमें से anterior relation of retroduodenal will be first part. Will be duodenum first part. बराबर? Retroduodenal भी उसका नाम है. So anterior relation will be third part का क्या रहेगा? Pancreas. Head of pancreas, right? See, portal for head, neck. It is almost formed neck and head, both. Head and neck of pancreas is formed behind the neck and the bone. Throughout. Now what about the supraduodenal part? Throughout, there will be two structures which will be anterior. One is bile duct. And up to this part will be common hepatic artery or hepatic artery, and lower down will be मतलब आपको मैं दिखाता हूँ कैसे है. The celiac trunk gives this common hepatic, and this gives hepatic and gastroduodenal. So that will be there anterior. So lower part, third part, anterior relation will be gastroduodenal along with the head and neck of pancreas. Second part and first part will be hepatic artery. Okay. Posterior relation in all the three parts, IVC. Anterior relation in the first part, bile duct and hepatic artery. Second part, bile duct, hepatic artery, and first part of duodenum. Third part, head and neck of pancreas, gastroduodenal artery, which we will be now dividing into superior pancreatic or duodenal. Okay. So basically, the structure is like this. That portal vein is always like this, and in front of portal vein are two structures, one artery and bile. The name of the artery keeps on changing. Sometimes it is hepatic artery in the upper part, lower part it is gastroduodenal artery. Okay. Development. Now इसके tributaries anybody? Right gastric, left gastric, superior pancreatic or duodenal. The superior rectal vein which continues the inferior mesenteric vein joins here. Superior rectal vein continues the inferior mesenteric vein which joins here. So that the branches of the aorta, the tributaries of IVC will be very less in the abdomen. Because जो arteries के नाम, what we were speaking of superior mesenteric, inferior, they are all forming veins which is joining portal vein. Something which happens in politics. Suddenly majority ने अपना अलग पक्ष बना लिया. That is portal vein. Portal vein is एकनाथ शिंदे. अरे ये सब IBC को जाने चाहिए थे, but then suddenly they have formed their own portal vein. So everybody is, instead of going to IBC, I joined portal vein. Who is IBC? So you got it. So all these names of the arteries which we studied are now turning portal vein. They should have done IBC. Normally किधर भी हम लोग body के any part we see like that, but here something different happens. Okay, portal vein. Para-umbilical veins, they join the left branch. Para-umbilical veins. Okay. The esophageal veins, they will join the gastric vein, the left gastric vein. So this is left gastric, this is right gastric, this is superior pancreatic or duodenal vein. Okay, this is splenic vein, this is inferior mesenteric vein, this is superior mesenteric vein, this is splenic vein. Okay, so superior mesenteric vein and portal vein. Sorry, मैंने यहाँ पे लिखा है left gastric, right gastric. I should show it here. Left gastric, right gastric. Instead, I showed them on the superior mesenteric. After the portal vein is formed, that is where the left gastric and right gastric they open directly into the portal vein. Okay. And the esophageal veins join the left gastric. So now what is happening here is, because some veins go to IVC and some veins go to portal vein, there are sites of portocaval anastomosis. Sites of portocaval anastomosis in some areas of our body where some blood from that part is drained into portal vein and some blood is drained into IVC. Example, lower end of esophagus, where upper part of the esophagus drains into hemiazygous veins and the lower part drains via esophageal veins into left gastric veins and into the portal veins. So in case the liver is damaged, there will be esophageal varices. Anal canal. Anal canal. Lower part of the anal canal drains into the veins of the perineum, and upper part drains into superior rectal vein, which continues above as inferior mesenteric vein, which joins the splenic vein. So anal canal, again upper part drain into portal vein, rectum anal canal, lower part drain into systemic veins. Esophagus, upper part drain into systemic, lower part drain into portal. So lower part of the esophagus and anal canal are two sites, important sites of portocaval anastomosis. Sites of portocaval anastomosis. Some other sites are these veins, paraumbilical veins. These veins around the umbilicus. Some drain into the superior epigastric vein, inferior epigastric vein, which drain ultimately into IVC, and some drain into portal vein. So what happens in a patient of liver cirrhosis, you will find anal varices, esophageal varices, and veins enlarged around the umbilicus, which is called as capute medicine. Capute medicine. Okay? Portal veins. Now, during the development of the heart, we said in the sinus venosus, three veins they come: umbilical, cardinal. Now we have seen what happens to cardinal. We have seen what happens to umbilical. Teres, ligament of teres. Third variety was vitelline veins. Third variety was vitelline veins or vitelline veins. Now these vitelline veins, they are lying on both the sides of the gut. They are lying on both the sides of the gut. They have one anastomosis behind and two anastomosis in the front. Okay? In the anastomosis behind, here the splenic and superior mesenteric vein. Splenic vein and superior mesenteric vein, they open. What are these veins? Vitelline veins. Okay? You remember, no? Sinus venosus, three types of veins were opening: cardinal, umbilical, vitelline. Okay? So this vitelline vein forms the portal vein. Cardinal veins form the vena cava. Vitelline veins, they are connected to the GIT, so they form the portal vein. Okay? So then majority of this part disappears. Okay? Majority of the part disappears. This part disappears. So ultimately, this part remains like this. So this forms the portal vein which is running behind. Now this gut becomes like this. So this forms the infraduodenal part. This will form the retroduodenal part. This will form the supraduodenal part. And this forms the right branch and this forms the left branch. Okay, so two vitelline veins. They get united by anastomosis, one in front of the gut, one behind the gut, another again in front of the gut. These all parts disappear, one behind the gut remains, and that is the one which forms the portal vein. Portal vein is formed by vitelline veins and middle anastomosis which connects it behind the gut. Okay? So in portal vein you should be knowing it is divided into three parts. Anatomically, you have to remember its tributaries. Its formative tributaries are superior mesenteric and splenic. Further tributaries are left gastric, right gastric, superior pancreatic or duodenal vein. Okay. Then some tributaries open directly into the right and left branch. One of them is paraumbilical veins. Esophageal opens into the left gastric veins. Then you have to know the sites of portocaval anastomosis. I have told you three important sites. There are 5-6 sites. Vein area of the liver and other. The three important sites which you should remember is around the umbilicus, lower end of esophagus and anal canal. Why these sites are important? Because in case of portal hypertension, they will enlarge. Coming to the last topic of today, and that is diaphragm. The diaphragm develops from The central tendon of the diaphragm develops from septum transverse. Develops from septum transverse, central tendon. You remember septum transversum? We said how to remember the development? Vertical and horizontal components. Horizontal component forms central tendon. I have taught you previously, but above this forms fibrous pericardium. I am talking about septum transversum. Fibrous pericardium. Below this forms the Gleason's capsule of liver. Yes? Come. Okay? Now as this setup is going on, I will just ask you if you remember this diagram. Pericardial cavity, peritoneal cavity, body cavities, peritoneal canal. Peritoneal canals connect the pericardial cavity to, and they form the pleura. The developing lung is here. We need to go here like this, and then it will imaginate into this canals, visceral pleura and parotid. Okay, and then this connection is cut off by two membranes called as pleuroperitoneal membranes. Pleuroperitoneal membranes. What is the name of the membranes? What do they form? So they cut off the connection of pericardio-peritoneal canals from the pericardial. This is pericardial cavity. So peritoneal cavity. This is pericardial cavity. What are these membranes? What are these membranes? Pleuroperitoneal membranes. What are these canals? Pericardio peritoneal canals. क्यों मैं बोल रहा हूँ? Because the posterolaterally the बराबर है ना, ये डायग्राम का लेवल है. Pleuroperitoneal membranes, they contribute to formation of diaphragm. Then body wall. Then mesentery of esophagus. Mesentery of esophagus. Diaphragm is derived from four things: septum transversum, central portion. Therefore, central portion is supplied by phrenic nerve. Body wall, therefore, peripheral surface area is supplied by intercostal nerves. Pleuroperitoneal membranes and mesentery of esophagus. Why I am teaching you this? Because this sometimes don't develop pleuroperitoneal membranes. This leads to posterolateral herniation in diaphragm. Abdominal organs will herniate into thorax, known as Bogdanov's hernia. Then a hernia of Morgan through the other openings. In the evening, we will be studying diaphragm into details. But this is the development of diaphragm. Diaphragm has three openings. T8, what is the opening? Iris. T10, esophagus. T12. What is the effect of respiration on all these three openings? T8 what passes? IVC. So when the diaphragm descends, the IVC opening passes through the central tendon. So fibers will contract. IVC opening dilates. So we want, if there is negative intrathoracic pressure, when diaphragm goes down, we want maximum blood to go up. Diaphragm goes down, thorax pressure reduces. IVC therefore dilates so that blood can go inside. But then intra-abdominal pressure will increase and stomach ka content can go into esophagus. So T10, the opening of esophagus constricts. So as diaphragm descends, IVC opening dilates, esophageal opening at T10 constricts. And T12 is aortic opening, on which there is no effect. Okay. So what happens to the diaphragmatic opening when the diaphragm descends? IVC opening dilates. Here the esophageal opening constricts. Why does it constrict? Because the intra-abdominal pressure increases, so food from the stomach can go up. Okay? And aortic opening, no effect. What is the origin of diaphragm? Insertion, all of you know. What is the insertion of diaphragm? Central tendon. नाम है ना, central tendon. Origin? Sternal origin. Costal origin. So sternal head, costal head, and the right crus and the left crus. Right crus and the left crus. Right crus goes from L1 to L3. Left crus goes from L1 to L2. Why like this? Why right crus goes up to L3? Viva question. Because the right side diaphragm, when it descends, it has to push the liver down, which is 1.5 kg. Therefore, the right crus goes from L1 to L3. And this goes from L1 to L2. Nerves of the diaphragm. Phrenic nerve. Root value of phrenic nerve. C2, C3, C4, which also supplies tip of the shoulder. So any infradiaphragmatic problem, pain can be referred to. What is median arcuate ligament and lateral arcuate ligament? Anybody? They are also sites of origin of diaphragm apart from the sternal head, costal head, and the crus of the diaphragm. These two crura here are connected by the median arcuate, and then by the side of it is medial arcuate ligament and lateral arcuate ligament. Okay? So with that we stop. Thank you.